As a military journalist from the distant planet Myfor, I had covered numerous conflicts among my own people, the Zorathians. Our wars were characterized by solemnity and silence, with each soldier a model of austere dedication. When I was sent to cover the conflict between humans and Nomarians on the planet Vista, I anticipated more of the same. When I arrived at the human base, I was immediately struck by the atmosphere. There was a bustling energy, a sense of life that contrasted sharply with the sterile, somber camps of Zorathian warriors. Humans were everywhere, engaged in a variety of activities that were incongruous with the sad realities of war. I was introduced to Captain Anna Lockwood, a tall, athletic woman with sharp features and an easy smile. "Welcome to Camp Echo," she said, shaking my hand firmly. "I hope you're ready for an adventure." My translator implant rendered her words in the melodious Zorathian tongue, but her tone needed no translation. She was confident, perhaps even cheerful, a stark contrast to the war weariness I had expected. Anna introduced me to her squad: Lieutenant James "Jimmy" Harper, lean man with a mischievous grin; Sergeant Maria Lopez, whose stern expression belied a warm heart; and Corporal Paul "Doc" Evans, a medic with a jovial demeanor. They greeted me with curiosity and respect, though their initial questions about my species' physiology and customs were punctuated with jokes and laughter. The battlefield itself was a rugged forested region on Vista, a planet with diverse terrain and hostile weather. The humans had established their base near a river, using the natural landscape to their advantage. They were fighting the Nomarians, a reptilian species known for their brutal tactics and advanced weaponry. The war had been ongoing for several years, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. In the following days, I shadowed Anna and her squad, documenting their daily routines and the ebb and flow of battle. What struck me most was the camaraderie among the soldiers. They laughed and joked even as they prepared for dangerous missions, a behavior I found perplexing. During one patrol, we encountered a group of Nomarian scouts. The skirmish was brief but intense, with laser fire and explosions echoing through the forest. Despite the danger, Jimmy made a joke about the Nomarians' appearance, eliciting laughter from the squad. Even in the midst of combat, their spirits remained high. Back at the base, I observed the soldiers during their downtime. They played card games, shared stories from their lives back on Earth, and teased each other good-naturedly. This behavior was so alien to me that I couldn't help but question it. I approached Doc, the squad's medic, during a quiet moment. "Doc, may I ask you something?" I began, my translator implant smoothly converting my Zorathian speech. "Sure thing, Romag," he replied, using the human name they had given me, as my Zorathian name was difficult for them to pronounce. "I have observed that you and your comrades often laugh and make jokes, even in dire situations. Is this typical human behavior during war?" Doc considered my question, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Yeah, suppose it is. Humor helps us cope with the stress and fear. It's a way to stay sane in the middle of all this madness." This was a revelation to me. Among Zorathians, war was a somber duty, and any display of emotion was considered a sign of weakness. Yet here were these humans, using humor as a shield against the horrors of war. One particular incident etched itself into my memory. We were on a reconnaissance mission deep in Nomarian territory. The terrain was harsh, and the threat of ambush loomed over us. Suddenly, we were attacked. Nomarian soldiers sprang from hidden positions, and a fierce firefight erupted. In the chaos, a young private named Alex was hit. As Doc rushed to his side, bullets and laser fire whizzed around them. I watched in awe as Doc remained calm, cracking a light-hearted comment about Alex's favorite sports team to distract him from the pain. Despite the gravity of the situation, Doc's humor brought a semblance of normalcy, allowing him to work with steady hands. Jimmy and Anna coordinated a counterattack, their voices clear and confident over the comms. Remember, lads, we're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for the right to make terrible jokes tomorrow, Jimmy quipped, drawing chuckles even as they returned fire. It was surreal to witness this blend of deadly seriousness and irreverent humor, but it was undeniably effective. They managed to repel the ambush, and we retreated with minimal casualties. Afterwards, around the campfire, the soldiers shared stories of close calls and heroics, each tale laced with humor. It was as if they were saying, "Yes, we faced death, but we're still here, and we can still laugh." One evening, the base came under heavy attack from the Nomarians. The night was lit up by the flashes of laser fire and the sounds of explosions. Anna and her squad were in the thick of it, directing defenses and coordinating with other units. Despite the chaos, they remained calm and focused, their camaraderie a steadying force. In the midst of the battle, I found myself in the medical tent, documenting the efforts of the medics. Doc was everywhere, tending to the wounded with efficiency and compassion. His humor was subdued but still present, offering comfort to those in pain. After the battle, as the smoke cleared and the base returned to a semblance of normalcy, I sat with Anna and her squad around a campfire. They were exhausted but still managed to find humor in the day's events. Anna recounted a particularly tense moment with a wry smile, making the others laugh. I found myself marveling at their resilience. These humans faced death daily, yet they laughed and joked as if it were merely an inconvenience. It was then that I began to understand the depth of their strength. Their humor was not a sign of weakness, but a testament to their indomitable spirit. As the weeks turned into months, I continued to document the war from the human perspective. I witnessed countless acts of bravery and selflessness, each one reinforcing my growing admiration for these soldiers. Their humor and camaraderie were ever present, a constant reminder of their unique approach to war. One day, I found myself talking to Anna in her quarters. She was reviewing battle plans, her expression serious but not devoid of warmth. "Anna, I have been here for some time now, and I must admit that your people's approach to war is unlike anything I have ever seen. How do you maintain such a positive outlook in the face of such adversity?" She looked up from her maps, her eyes reflecting a depth of understanding. "Romag, humans have always found ways to cope with hardship. Humor is one of those ways. It helps us bond, stay strong, and remind ourselves of what we're fighting for." Her words resonated with me deeply. The Zorathians, with all our advanced technology and stoic traditions, had never grasped this fundamental aspect of humanity. In our pursuit of strength, we had overlooked the power of connection and resilience. As my time with the humans drew to a close, reflected on all I had learned, the humans were not just skilled warriors. They were resilient, adaptable, and profoundly connected to one another. Their laughter and jokes were not mere distractions, but essential tools for survival. As my stay extended, I became more integrated with Anna's squad. They welcomed me into their inner circle, and I began to share in their rituals and routines. One evening, as we sat around the campfire, Jimmy handed me a small flask. "Here, Romag, try this. It's called whiskey, good for warming the soul." Took a cautious sip, the liquid burning pleasantly as it went down. The humans laughed at my reaction, but it was a laughter filled with camaraderie, not mockery. I realized that I was not just an observer anymore. I had become part of their story. The more I learned about them, the more I admired their resilience. Anna, the ever-steady leader, had a young daughter back on Earth. Jimmy, the joker, carried a photograph of his late wife. Maria, stern and protective, was the glue that held the squad together, and Doc, with his endless humor, was the heart. Their stories were a tapestry of loss, love, and laughter, woven together by their shared experiences. They were fighting not just for survival, but for each other and the lives they hoped to return to. One night, as we prepared for a particularly dangerous mission, Anna gathered us for a briefing. The tension was thick, the stakes high, but she managed to infuse a bit of humor into her pep talk. Remember, no heroics. We're not in a movie. Stick to the plan, and we'll all get to laugh about this later. The mission was to infiltrate a Nomarian stronghold and disable their communication array. It was a critical objective, one that could turn the tide of the war. We moved through the dense forest, every sense heightened. The air was filled with the sounds of nocturnal creatures and the distant hum of Nomarian machinery. As we approached the target, we encountered a Nomarian patrol. The ensuing firefight was brutal. I watched in awe as the humans moved with precision and purpose, their training and camaraderie shining through. Anna led with unwavering resolve, her commands clear and decisive. At a critical moment, Jimmy spotted a sniper nest that threatened our advance. Without hesitation, he volunteered to flank it. "Cover me, guys. I've got this," he said with a grin. Despite the danger, we provided covering fire as Jimmy moved swiftly and silently. Moments later, we heard the sniper rifle's report followed by silence. Jimmy's voice crackled over the comms. "Sniper neutralized. You're clear." Despite the tension, a collective sigh of relief swept through the squad. Anna gave Jimmy a thumbs up, her smile proud. It was another reminder of their bravery and unyielding spirit. The war on Vista reached its climax with a large-scale offensive. The humans, with their indomitable spirit and strategic acumen, had managed to push the Nomarians back. The final battle was imminent, and the air was thick with anticipation. In the days leading up to the offensive, the camp was a hive of activity. Soldiers prepared their gear, checked their weapons, and said quiet goodbyes to comrades. Amidst the seriousness, there was still laughter and jokes, testament to their resilience. I spent the night before the battle with Anna's squad. They were unusually quiet, the weight of the coming fight heavy on their minds. Yet, even in this somber moment, Jimmy managed to lighten the mood with a joke about the terrible food rations. "If we survive this, first round of real food is on me." As dawn broke, we moved out. The final battle was a ferocious clash of wills, a test of endurance and courage. The humans fought with a tenacity I had never seen before. They moved as one, their bonds unbreakable, their resolve unshakable. In the heat of battle, I witnessed acts of bravery that would be sung about in Zorathian epic sagas. Anna led the charge, her voice a beacon of hope. Maria, fierce and protective, shielded her comrades. Doc, ever the healer, saved lives even as the bullets flew. And Jimmy, the Joker, fought with a ferocity that belied his light-hearted nature. The battle was won. The Nomarians, unable to withstand the human onslaught, retreated. Vista was liberated, and the war was over. The humans had prevailed, not just through strength and strategy, but through their unbreakable spirit and unity. As the dust settled, I walked through the battlefield, documenting the aftermath. The humans were exhausted but jubilant, their laughter and cheers a stark contrast to the devastation around them. They had endured, they had triumphed, and they had done it together. In the days that followed, I prepared to return to Myfor. The humans had become more than subjects of my reports. They had become friends, and I would miss them. On my last night at Camp Echo, Anna and her squad threw a small farewell party. There was laughter, music, and a few tears. "Romag, it's been an honor having you with us," Anna said, raising her glass. "You've shown us that even in the darkest times, we can find common ground and understanding. Thank you." As I looked around at their faces, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. They had taught me so much about resilience, camaraderie, and the power of humor. Their laughter in the face of danger was not just a coping mechanism, it was a celebration of life itself. When I finally returned to Myfor, my reports on the human war effort were met with skepticism and intrigue. My fellow Zorathians found it difficult to understand how such seemingly frivolous behavior could coexist with the seriousness of war. Yet, I knew that I had witnessed something extraordinary. The human soldiers I had come to know were living proof of the strength that could be found in unity and humor. They had shown me that even in the darkest of times, there could be light. Their laughter in the face of danger was not just a coping mechanism. It was a testament to their indomitable spirit. As I concluded my final report, I included a quote from Anna, words that had stayed with me long after I left Vista. In the end, it's not just about winning the war. It's about holding on to what makes us human. And sometimes, that means finding a reason to laugh, no matter what. These words resonated deeply with my fellow Zorathians. Slowly, our society began to understand the value of humor and camaraderie in times of adversity. The human way of war, once seen as strange and illogical, was now recognized as a profound testament to the resilience of the human spirit. I often found myself reminiscing about my time with Anna, Jimmy, Maria, and Doc. Their stories, their bravery, and their laughter had left an indelible mark on me. They had taught me that strength was not just about stoic endurance, but also about finding joy and connection amidst the chaos. Years later, as I sat in my study on my I reflected on the journey that had transformed me. The humans had shown me that war, while terrible, could also reveal the best in people. Their ability to laugh, to find joy in each other's company, and to stand together in the face of overwhelming odds was a lesson that transcended species. In my reports and writings, I continued to share the human stories, hoping to inspire my own people. The lessons of Vista became a part of our cultural fabric, influencing how we approached challenges and adversity. I remained in contact with Anna and her squad, exchanging messages and updates. They were rebuilding their lives, moving forward with the same resilience and humor that had carried them through the war. Their stories continued to inspire me and many others on my As I concluded my final memoir, I wrote, "In the face of adversity, it is not the absence of fear that defines us, but the presence of courage and the ability to find light in the darkest of times. The humans taught me that laughter and camaraderie are not signs of weakness, but the strongest forms of resistance." And so, the story of the human soldiers of Vista, their laughter, and their unbreakable spirit became a beacon of hope and strength, not just for me, but for an entire galaxy.